Good afternoon. It's 5 p.m. and time for the regular scheduled August 6, 2024 meeting of the Natchez Parish School Board Committee as a whole. Board members and visitors, please silence your cell phones and all electronic devices as to not to interrupt the meeting. Thanks for your cooperation. Board members, again, now that we're required by law to televise our meetings, please speak clearly and loudly for the camera microphone to receive your comments. When we move next door, we'll all have our own microphones, but until then. Our viewers have contacted me saying that we can't hear a lot of the board members, so please speak up. Ms. Reynolds, can we have a roll call for attendance?
Mr. Danzy?
Here.
Mr. McGuire?
Here.
Mr. Benefield?
Here.
Mr. Harris? Mrs. McGaskey? Here. Ms. Palmer? Ms. Phelps? Here. Ms. Harvey? Here. Mr. Fragan?
Here.
Mr. Nicholson?
Here.
And Ms. Page? Here.
Thank you. Board members and visitors, I would like to ask your indulgence and break our protocol and procedures, our normal process. And please stand for a moment. Our school year starts tomorrow with students, and I'd like to ask our Vice President, Mr. Danzy, to offer a prayer for a safe and successful school year.
Pray with me, please. Lord, give us this days that we're going into, and all the people and all the students, and of course the buses and so forth, and their safety. Just watch over them as you would see fit, and let this school year start and be the best that we've ever had. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. And we can keep the superintendent at the level of performance and vitamin C, whatever he needs to be everywhere at all times. We need that too. Okay. We can break into the superintendent.
Yes, sir. So, superintendent report for the month of August. I did want to discuss with you the release of LEAP data. What they typically put out, they put out a lot of information, but what we typically see is we see proficiency. And for those of you who need a reminder of what proficiency is students who are on or above grade level, which is obviously what we're shooting for. We want students on or above. We don't want them below grade level. And so when they put out there how a district does, the State Department is typically going to give you that percentage. And in years past, we show these percentage growths. This year, the State Department showed we had zero growth, but we actually did our own data, and what we know is that wasn't untrue what they said, but it wasn't exactly the full picture. And what I mean by that is last year we had 35.5% students who were proficient. They rounded up to 36. Then the year after, this year, we were 36.4, and they rounded down to 36. So we actually have 0.9 of a point growth in proficiency, which, when you know how difficult proficiency is, that we still are very excited about that. Number one, there was many districts in the state that went backwards, and there was many districts in the state that stayed the same. The state itself was stagnant, so we exceeded the state, and we also know that although we are very much, we want to stick with proficiency, we also look at overall performance. Overall performance does include those students who achieved a basic score. And so I'd like to go through a quick list of those schools that saw, I'm just giving you their overall performance growth. I'm not showing proficiency because we haven't disaggregated that completely yet. But I'll just go real quickly through and tell you some highlights. Provençal grew 6.5 points on overall performance. Fairview grew 0.7 points on overall performance. Marthaville, 4.7 points on overall. Weaver, and we include LP Vaughn with it because LP Vaughn is a K2, so their score is reflected in Weaver's. Weaver grew 13.7 points on overall performance. East, I have to highlight them. Not only did they grow the most in the parish, but they were also listed as a top 10 school in overall performance for the entire state. They grew 17 points in performance. NSUE, 1.8 points, but again, it's always difficult when you're in that higher category. NSU Middle, I joked with the staff the other day, it's almost like giving them a principal and their own master teacher was effective because they grew 8.9 points. Again, very high already, but that was excellent. NJH grew 9.8 points in overall performance. Guldana grew 3.5 points in performance. Give you a quick thing on that. Remember, they had that DCAI hang-up. So you may not see that in SPS, but in student performance, they did grow 3.5 points. We did see some drops in our high schools. We've talked about it. We figured out. We got a plan moving forward. So we're excited to get that back on track. But either way, what we are anticipating, and I'm not going to give the big headline yet because I know we got the media here and I don't want it to be out there until November. But we do believe what this is going to result in is significantly more A schools, and we already got rid of Fs last year, but significantly decreased D schools and perhaps 0 D schools. And so, I harken back to whenever y'all interviewed me and I made the comment that Billy said got me the job, where I said we're really not a C district, we're lower but propped up by some good schools. There's a possibility in November you're going to have only A, B, and C schools in this district. So we're so excited about that, but we're going to hold off the celebration until that data officially comes in. Also want to touch on the fact that I think we had an amazing event with our, last week we had our press conference. Got to really say thank you to the district attorney, to the sheriff's office. We actually had a follow-up meeting with the sheriff's office and the district attorney yesterday to work out some bugs and everything, and they've just been super, super helpful. I've actually had some superintendents reach out and said, how are y'all doing this? We've always been told you could put no teeth behind it, and first thing I told them was, I said, we have a really good DA and a really good sheriff who's helping us out. So it's also been shared statewide. The executive director of superintendents emailed me and said, please send this over. I want to share it with all superintendents. And so we got a lot of people doing that. And so I think it's really positive. I do want to say one thing, though, because a lot of our language I think it leaned towards punitive and harsh, and we're not denying that because we want what's best for our students. But we also want to really reiterate, that's going to be the option of last resort. We want to work with families, provide them services, provide them creativity and what we can do to assist them before they ever get involved with law enforcement, the DA, etc. So I want to make that clear. Someone reached out to me and they were, I'll be honest, they were kind of offended by that. And although I didn't agree completely with them, we met in the middle, and I understand that we should make it loud and clear that we're going to work with families. So that being said, tomorrow is D-Day. We're going to have close to 5,000 students across the parish attending school. It's going to be exciting times. Be patient with us as we work through scheduling and things of that nature that are already done, but there's always things that have to be adjusted. We are ready. We're ready to receive our students. We're covered in the prayers of the community and all that. And then also just be aware, it's going to take you a little longer to get to work tomorrow. And by September, we are so excited that our bus tracking software will be available in September. We're taking the month of August to make sure we have all of our data in place to make sure it's good data, and that way the bus tracking software will work very well and very effectively and provide parents another tool to give them peace of mind. Moving forward, I wanted to turn it over to Ms. Dana Lacaz. It was asked by a board member if she could provide an update a little bit on special education, but also Ms. Lacaz has been highlighted here recently in the state. She's also, I think, going to become international here soon. So she's going to give us a little bit of insight into what's going on with her in the SPED department.
Yes.
So when you go to the Scandinavian countries, do you have to change your name? Is that it?
Not yet.
No.
So it is official that I passed all of the clearance, all of the backgrounds, the requirements to participate in the Fulbright program to go to Finland. We don't have exact dates yet, but I did get to meet my fellow participants. There's 11 of us going. I went back and read the letter, and there were 178 applicants, and 11 of us are going, so that's exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So hopefully we get to bring some good stuff back to Louisiana. All right, so the conference room, Mike?
MC conference remotely. Very good.
So I have a little slideshow for y'all. So I like the visuals. We did have, we had our back to school SPED PD last week. We had a really great turnout. We're considering it a very high success. We had a 90% participation rate with our SPED teachers and SPED paras. We also conducted legal in-service for our school administrators to make sure they're informed about the recent legislation and updates impacting special ed. I am aware of all of those acts and things that came through, but we don't foresee any major changes with the way our operational practices currently are, because it's already in line with what the state has proposed. So,
Ms. Lucas, the specific training for the teachers, a lot of that was ABA therapy,
yes,
correct?
so we had ABA consultants out of Alexandria come up, and they did various topics and training with different groups of people based on experience level and role. They covered ABA tactics to classroom management, emotionally disturbed students, just a wide variety of
And
things.
for those of y'all who don't know, ABA, it's for a lot of different students, but it's very popular with our students with autism
Yes.
as a means to improve behavior and outcomes for them. So.
Yes, so we did open that PD specifically to anyone. I think we had some regular ed friends come over to that PD, so we're excited to have them there as well, because it's good for everybody. So this is our departmental group. We've added some new team members this year. We had a couple of retirements and people appraisal, so we were able to steal some appraisal folks from across the line.
Yes.
And we were also able to add a position that I've been trying to get in for a couple of years. We've added an early childhood special ed facilitator, which is Ms. Priscilla McGuire, and she's going to act as our liaison between Gen Ed, early childhood, and special department to support those young children with disabilities, because we've had a very high influx of students the last couple of years in ages 3 to 5. It's not isolated to Natchitoches Parish, it's actually a statewide phenomenon, so we felt that was a great need. And it's at no cost to the board, it's coming out of the IDEA budget. Oh, and I did bring a couple of friends this evening. I always talk about the team, and I refer to them as the team, but I brought a few of our miracle workers from behind the scenes to share a little bit with y'all today as well. So focus areas, we've been working on this since probably 2019, but really heavily in the past 2 to 3 years. So intervention labels, schools can have intervention labels specific to a subgroup, and we've had 10 identified in 2019, and we've dropped off 7 of those. We focus on...
I'm sorry, say that. How many did you drop off?
7.
So 70% of the special ed labels have been dropped.
Yeah, I actually have a whole slide for it, so
Okay.
you can see it in print. Lead proficiency, that Dr. Eloy's already went over that, but we want to increase our proficiency for students with disabilities, and also a heavy focus on our post-secondary outcomes, ensuring that our students with disabilities are successful once they get out of high school and into the workforce or furthering their education. So intervention labels, here's where we started, and here's where we are now. So I have Weaver highlighted in blue because I don't know how it's going to be possible for them to not be on track, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that Weaver's on their first year out of exiting their label. Based on their base assessment index that we've calculated, they're going to be on track. So I have East in yellow because they also had good growth in their subgroup for students with disabilities, and it's possible that East may also be on track to exit, but we'll know.
And just so the board's aware, you have to have 1 year on track and then another year of being on track to exit.
Yep, with an assessment index of 50 or higher. Last year Weaver was at 49.3. This year they're starting at 41 before progress points. So
What they do is they do a school performance score just for that subgroup.
Yes.
So just for students with disabilities, and they have to have at least a 50, otherwise they label us.
Okay, so closing the gap. This is just something that we've always watched in special education, dating back since, 2004 IDEA, where if we can't close the gap, we're ensuring that the gap is not getting greater between general education and special education. So you can see here our trends. The top line is general education for Natchitoches Parish, and the blue line is special education. So we're staying right in line with our Gen Ed peers as far as proficiency. Okay, LEAP proficiency specifically for students with disabilities. We were recognized for top growth in 22 and 23. I don't think we're going to get that same recognition this year, although we did meet the same growth rate as the state, so we didn't regress. And when the progress points come out, I feel like we're going to see the highest subgroup performance for students with disabilities that Natchitoches has ever seen. So to be determined.
Can you repeat that so everyone in the public knows?
They can hold me to it later. So based on our preliminary data, I have very high hopes, and I'm very optimistic that we're going to see the highest SPED subgroup performance score that Natchitoches has ever seen. In November. Alright, so this is just a different look at the LEAP tests. So this is actual test units, where on the left-hand side you see ELA growth to mastery. So 2019 we started with a significantly high number of unsats, and we want to see that go down. So we would like to see the red decrease, and we want to see the purple, blue, and green increase. So you can see that we are making progress there for ELA and math. For me, that's just an easier way to see that we are making growth. All right, our LEAP Connect. I have Ms. Cotton, she's going to share with you some LEAP Connect data. That's our ultimate assessment for students with more significant cognitive disabilities, and we've been tracking that more closely in the past couple of years as well.
I'm Crystal Cotton. I'm one of the program coordinators. You'll see the results posted are from 23 from the LEAP Connect assessment, and that's the assessment for students with more significant disabilities. So in 23, we had at least 50% of our students made score proficient, so at or above goal. Right, and then in 24, the number increased from 50 to at least 65% across the subject areas. So in 23, we had 38 of our DES students or SPED students participate in the assessment, and in 24, we had 37 students participate. And so in comparison, to show those growth results, you'll see from 23 to 24, the number of students scoring proficient in the blue increase. And those in the green, which is below gold, a decrease.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Cotton. Okay, post-secondary, so all things high school. This is Ms. Sheila McDonald-Flores, and she knows all about the high school. So she can share some of this growth data with you.
Okay, so basically when we came in, our dropout rate was like excessive. And we worked hard to find these kids everywhere and bring them back to school and get those diplomas. And as you can tell, they not only got diplomas, they're going to college, they're going to the VOTEC, they are working, and that's possible through our LRS TPCA. It's been amazing having that transition support team. We've got kids going to college and LRS is paying for it. We've joined with WIOA now. They're paying what LRS is not paying for. So it's amazing. They will actually even pay the kids to go to school and pay $75 a week attendance in some cases for them to show up. So we're just on an upward climb. We're going to continue.
So in 23, 24, 0% dropout of students with disabilities.
Yes. And we attribute a lot of that growth to the partnership with LRS, and so in case y'all didn't remember, you did approve the renewal for that partnership, so we appreciate your support on that end, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to have the people in place to help these kids make these types of gains. So just some final thoughts. We're seeing steady progress in all target areas, but we're not where we want to be yet. And sidebar, we're also starting this school year fully staffed as of 12 o'clock today. So just some quick, I know y'all are always interested in SPED personnel, what it looks like. We're fully staffed. We have teachers in place, paras in place. I am looking for a couple of additional paras, paid by IDEA, to support virtual speech therapy because it's here to stay. So I'm looking for some paras to support helping those kids get to the services within the school setting without disrupting the other, the SPED teachers and paras schedules. As far as certification, we have 88% of our teachers are certified. 66 of that is certified in special education, and we have 6 teachers on TAP in a program. So they're technically all certified, but 88% are certified. Okay, and that's all I have. I wanted to share some information with y'all, and we are excited for the new school year.
Thank you, Mr. Cass. Great news, all the board members, if you know how much support all of our departments, our schools, our district has received through the TAP program, relocation, instructional specialists, all the different things, the salary schedule that we put in place, all the different people that have moved into positions that have helped us achieve the goals that we've been looking for years and years and years. Again, the board is showing a full sign of support by wearing I Love Niagara Parish School Board shirt. All of us except one.
Oh, more tomorrow.
Spell check comments on that.
No, evaluation is coming.
No, I'm just picking on Cindy too. But she did say evaluation is coming. No, I think our teachers and our staff feel more supported probably than they ever have in the Niagara Parish school system. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that this board, but you know, our superintendent, he's the person that's been pushing this ball forward also, so I'd like to give him a lot of credit. We also have some talented people who have been moving into wonderful roles, and Ms. Pinckney, looking at her in the back, and Ms. McCass, these are the kind of people that hit the ground running every day and do a wonderful job for us. So I'd like to give them a hand, and all the faculty and staff.
I did have one minor thing, and you reminded me with Ms. Pinckney. We have already been working this week. Her team is already working with some issues with some students with schools. And I can tell you that already, I feel like, you know, we were trying to rebrand how schools and principals thought of this department. Well, it's a new department, but how they thought of discipline and truancy. We're already seeing that come to fruition. And it's not, school hasn't started yet. But remember, attendance starts tomorrow. And we are replacing all of our signs around town, the signs that are every school. We're going to have attendance signs that will be going up to support those efforts as well. And Mr. Joey Miller is going to be out and about at schools as of tomorrow.
So, what? War on truancy?
War on truancy. War on truancy. And that concludes my superintendent report for the month of August.
Thank you, sir. Okay, informational. Any questions for Ms. McCann? I didn't ask. Any questions for Ms. McCann? Okay. Informational reports. We'll have Mr. Gabe Furman, our representative in the area, that he will be here next Tuesday.
And Mr. Grenville, I need to add to that. Also, President Genovese will also be coming for an informational thing that same day after Mr. Furman.
Okay, Mr. Ryan.
How are y'all? If you haven't noticed, we have done a lot of painting, a lot of pressure washing, a lot of cleaning up of schools. That's floors. We have done a lot of just regular maintenance, making everything pleasing, or trying to. We still have a lot more to go. Of course, you know, without the students in there, we don't have a lot of our plumbing issues and different things of such nature. So this kind of gives us a little bit of time to try to catch up on painted walls and scuffed floors. And if you haven't been in your schools, please go in your schools and look and let us know what you think. If you see areas of concern, let us know.
The Lakeview glass looked great.
It's nice. It's nice. They've done a really good job. And we're proud of where we're going and how we're getting there. It's just taking a little bit longer than what we're planning. So, we still want you to go take a look at your schools and see what our janitors have done. We have a lot of our schools that our janitors actually stepped up this year and done a really, really good job on the floors.
I can see my face in East floors yesterday.
They have really done good. Plus, we have some more training coming for them soon, and we're purchasing a few more pieces of key equipment that we need to make this happen every year. So we're excited about what's coming and where we're going.
How's the ACs at Niagara Central?
You want the short version or the long
No,
version?
short version.
We need help, and they're coming.
Okay.
We need help, and they're
All
coming.
right, Snoopy, hang on, right?
Yeah, and that's the same way as Problem Solved. Problem Solved, we have a few that are down, but we have on the way as well. But all in all, this summer, we've done a lot, but we still got a lot more.
Are we
Mr. Ryan.
utilizing these portable units that we had?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking right now at NPSB. I think I have 8 of them.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes, sir.
remember the issue in Marthaville with the ground being raised and all that? We had a monsoon 2 weeks ago.
We have not had any water protrusion in that gym. We still have the drainage pipe put in. And the reason we haven't is we're building a basketball court there.
Uh-huh.
So we're trying to figure out how we can route everything. That way when the basketball court is drained, we've got enough capacity.
But that's good. We had enough rain to test that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have not, I bought a moisture meter, just to go in and check the floors, and we have no moisture. So right now, we're doing great.
What was it? I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Okay. I see there's nothing listed to report for NPTC. See, there's no issues.
No,
They need to be
ma'am.
resolved there at the school.
We actually have some doors that need to be painted, but they didn't come to us until about 3 weeks ago. Everybody has been tied up painting other schools, so we are getting to those doors. But right now, that's the only one that Mr. Benjamin has made us aware of that he really needed taken care of was those doors, because they do it terrible.
Okay, what about security doors? I mean, I know, they have like, when you go through they going through the security monitors, just like at the other school.
Yes, ma'am.
But okay.
They do, they actually have a metal detector in the office area that they go through in that side of the building, and we have one in the,
Okay.
and we had those in place, actually before last year started. So it's good.
What about the lighting at Weaver? Has that been changed out?
No, it has not. Our electrician that we're using to change all those out, because it's 32 lights, we have the lights in, we've received them. He's tied up on another job that's supposed to end this week, and he needs to complete us. Yes, yes.
So, last question,
Mhm.
and you covered this before, I'm so sorry. So at East Mathis, there's a gate or like a door, gate door, whatever you wanna call it, going to the courts where people play ball.
We ordered the new one. That was put on with plastic hinges. I don't understand what that was that way for. So we had to order a whole new setup for the pole and the gate itself. So, but it is.
Yeah, thank you.
And we do have to change up the basketball court as well. Our new rules for the basketball courts, so the late nights and everything. We've got signage along the whole fence, letting them know what our hours of operation are, and that they can be there when.
What are the hours of operation after school for people coming to play?
I think we have it open to 8 p.m.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
Ms. Linda. Been a busy August so far?
Just a little bit, just a little bit. Hello. Okay, so, new employees, I just want to share a little bit with you. Ms. Watson. Hi, somebody.
What's up?
Oh, scroll down.
Okay, so we've hired 57 new employees this summer. We have a total number of 791 employees. We have 28 employees who are eligible for the relocation stipend. That was fun. And Dr. Lord loves this part. We have 26 employees from other districts or they're new to teaching. And only 3 of those are new to teaching.
Need to start using multiple alphabets.
No, I sent it to you separately
Oh, no,
in
she
email.
sent you a presentation separately on your email.
Okay. And of those people who are eligible for the relocation stipend, I just thought I'd throw in a few fun facts. One's returning home. One of the teachers has been in Texas for many years, and she's returning back to Natchitoches. I thought that was cool. We have 3 who worked for us in years past, and we have 2 couples who have returned. So they're in a nice little chunk. We have 34 new teachers, and of the 34 teachers, they all are eligible for credentials or they're close to certification. LDOE has started a new program where they invite 2 teachers from the district to participate in the new teacher experience. This was held on July 24th. It's an all-day experience held in Baton Rouge, and we sent Mr. Steve Evans, he's a teacher at Weaver, and Ms. Hannah Ferguson, who will be at Arkansas, to attend. And there's a little information at the bottom.
He's having technical difficulties.
Okay, so I'll just tell you, it's an all-day program.
Hear that? I'm so sorry, guys.
It's an all-day program in Baton Rouge to try to enlighten the new teachers, try to get them in the company of other new teachers, to try to answer their questions, to try to help them to have a better experience. Because as you know, the largest group of people teachers leaving would be the new teachers. So this is supposed to support them in a way so that we might be able to retain them better. Do you have questions about that? Okay, so after close to 100 interviews this summer, and I kid you not, we've done that this summer. Different groups had, I tried to attend as many as I could, pieces here and there, but we've had close to 100 interviews this summer. We can hardly wait to say, and they're off. After 100 interviews, we can hardly wait to say, and they're off, like at the races. Okay, the report.
Back to the report.
6 subsets. This is good. It's a lot of movement.
Her report.
Okay, board members, any questions for Ms. Page? Thank you, Ms. Page, and the staff for all this hard work, and the principals. I know they want the best and brightest for their schools too,
They do.
because they're looking at that score every day too, aren't they?
They are. They are.
So we have no shortages in any,
We have people who are eligible for certification. Well, they're waiting on certification or eligible for credentials because not all of them have been returned. It's been submitted and we're just waiting on them to return. Yes, ma'am.
There was a recent opening at Magnet, was that filled or
So,
Working on it.
working on?
working on it, but until it is filled, fortunately for us, we have a principal who is certified in high school math, and she wants to fill that until it's not. So it's not ideal, but the students will not go without.
So. Go ahead, okay.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
just really introduce it, okay?
Mr. McCoy, please introduce with you.
Informational reports I presented here to y'all, the last several years of sales tax collections. Our sales tax July collection is the first first month to report, and it's only 1 month. And with that, it's down 5.4%. And everybody that's been around can tell, if you've been shopping around, it's been a little tight out there. There was no report from motor vehicles included in these numbers. That may have been what happened, is that she got it too late. We might receive double next month from what my understanding is. So this may actually be a little bit of an anomaly, we'll see.
Is it
I am
possible,
hopeful that it will be up next month.
is it possible that this could even be,
Well, when I got her full report, their motor vehicles wasn't reported anywhere.
What about
I'm
next
thinking
week?
they were
You
so
think
late
she'll give you an adjustment for next week?
Yeah, we would just get it over, this may be understated, so I'm hoping that's what it is, but this is what was deposited based on her recording on that. I had forgotten to ask her. I could probably clarify that by next week if you'd like.
So have they paid back the vendor that,
Yes,
that
there was a-
overpayment?
there was a vendor, those payments were all done in last year's numbers. So, there is hope that this actually is just an anomaly if motor vehicle sales did not get reported. And it'll be double reported next week. It'll be July and August numbers next month, so. Okay. And that's in my informational report on Saturday.
All right, Mr. Lee. Any questions for Mr. Watson? Okay. Ms. Bond?
Okay. 5, Finance, Facilities, Services, and Insurance. 5A, 2024-2025 budget adoption and 2023-2024 budget adjustments.
So this is our second year with our new budget format. I'm just going to sit over here for this presentation. I've got a 50-page document which is attached here. This document that I presented is very similar, but much more detailed this year than last year. It is two things. It serves as last year's final budget adjustments and this year's budget for the coming year, okay? So in the past, I've always done an August budget adjustment and adopt the budget in September. Now that we can adopt it in August, we're doing both at the same time. So if you'll actually move to page, I think it's 8 and 9.
Before you get to 8,
Okay, sure.
page 3 has an anticipated reduction of 76 students, K-12, for 24-25 year.
Correct. If you will actually look at the very last page, it's page 50, you will see where we actually look at, and I really would like the board to take a look at, and we have 3 basic levels of funding. We have property tax, sales tax, and MFP. This is MFP. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it pushed over.
you said page 50? The last
Page 50, the very last page. I'm not sure I can actually get it pushed over properly.
I can.
Sorry, on this I can't, but if you actually, if you look at this page,
I got it.
yeah, I'm not able to put it up on the screen. If you look at the page, there's a page for the anticipated numbers. It is a projection based on experience from 2018 all the way to the end of June of this year. And based on those numbers, we are anticipating the October 1 count to be at 4721, and last October count was 4797. And so that's down 70 students. If you look at the February count, last February plus the anticipated February count, it's down 100, it's down from 4773 down to 4615. Personally, I really hope this PME is greatly successful and can get the truancy problem solved. This will actually help this problem.
Yeah, because there are students, if they're truant enough, LDOE will come in afterwards and exit them, even if they haven't exited themselves, so.
So if that will actually help these numbers, but based on current trends and current performance, this is where I anticipate we will be. If you might remember that this does, if you know from that, this does impact our MFP funding.
So do you have the
Roughly
breakdown?
66,000 per student.
Do you have the breakdown by school embedded in this anywhere?
In this particular document, I don't believe so.
It's not.
It's not in here.
Honestly, I mean, I've looked at a few schools just out of curiosity this week, but I can anecdotally tell you some if you have questions, but overall, we won't know initially until probably they're at school this week and we can count, and then we won't know for sure until October 1.
Most of the schools in town would think it'll be static.
I know, okay, E-Lab and Middle Lab, you're gonna see significant increases. For the first time, and these are just some of the ones I've looked at, for the first time ever, you're gonna see, not first time ever, first time in a long time, Middle Lab is at capacity with, I'm sorry, they have one spot. E-Lab, similar situation. So you're gonna see probably over a 10% increase of those. I think I looked at Magna the other day, slightly down. The city cohort, I would say probably pretty static is what I've seen so far. But again, some of that's based on kids who haven't even, no one's done online registration. We don't even know they exist yet until tomorrow, possibly.
Did go down and get their numbers up, what they say they could?
It's been up and down all week. Anywhere, there's been days where it's been down like 14 kids, and I think today it's down like 12 from where it was the same time last year. So it's looking down.
Ultimately, it's not a total one count that the state calculates everything
Yeah.
by.
So if y'all would like, I can probably give you an update next week after we've had a week of school and some registration's been taken care of. And then the biggie obviously will be the number we actually give to LDOE.
What about Marthaville?
Marthaville, if I recall, was down like maybe 2 or 3 kids, I think. But again, some of this is going to be in flux. So.
Okay.
Well, will we have a list of all the schools?
So for next week, what I can do is I'll print y'all what we call the MFP count. It won't include pre-K, but I can have pre-K on a separate line. And it'll show the MFP count, and it'll be as of that day. Now, what Miss Adrian will tell you is for that really until October 1, and that again, that's what some of Miss Felicia's work is going to do. Until October 1, some of that's going to be in flux. But I can give you as it is. I'll print it out the last moment before the board meeting on next Tuesday, and that'll give you an even clearer picture of just how the first week is, which hopefully will give us some insight into some trajectory.
In researching this budget, you might want to look at this chart I have up on there, page 3. Early childhood has stayed flat.
I was looking at that. But if you look at the one right above it, it starts moving down. Student enrollment trends, 21, 22, 22, 23, all the way down. And so we go from 5,052 students to projected 4721 at the start of school year now. So that's a considerable drop. We knew it was forecasting, we knew it was coming, and, it's here.
Right.
And you said going on where? How many kids there?
It depends on the day. I think last time I checked, I want to say it was at 92. But I would feel more comfortable, I would give y'all the numbers for the week, because one thing I did check is they had very little online registration. And so some of those numbers, maybe people who were intending to come, but there were several who went to other schools that we're aware of.
So that most of them don't just disappear, so if they go across the line and you have a chance to talk to other superintendents.
So what we typically get is we get records requests from the receiving school. Even if it's like a homeschool group or something like that, they're usually pretty good about that. And then obviously the public and approved privates are really good about that.
Moving forward, I'm going to stop on things I think are important to me. Y'all are certainly welcome to ask. I was going to go to the next page, which is page 4. This is the very next page, page 450. I would like to see where it says TRSL, Teacher Retirement Service. Our percentage that we contribute for every dollar we spend has gone down from 24.1% down to 21.51%. That's really helpful. That's a 3% savings in total payroll. Remember, total payroll is our #1 expense in the district.
And didn't they reduce their,
Employee contribution? No, that's actually still the same at 8%.
no, not the employee but didn't TRSF?
The accrued interest.
Accrued interest, did they change something there?
They were working on that. I don't know if that legislation passed though, because originally they were gonna reduce it, but then they wanted to reduce it significantly with some of that surplus. But literally every entity wanted a piece of that surplus. So I don't think that panned out, but,
The difference between talking and actually confirming that I can count on. This I can count on.
Yeah.
So, anyway, okay. Let's see, gonna go to the next page. Wanted to show page 8 and 9. This is the actual budget, the resolution I would like y'all to adopt next week. If you would like me to read it today, I'll be glad to. I would like also, I will be reading it on a week from today. So this is it. This is the,
I think we can wait.
if y'all are okay with my reading skills to wait till next week, I'll be glad to share with it next week. But this is the actual copy of the resolution we would like to adopt. This right here, there's going to be one minor change in line number 1 here. We are going to make one change in this budget as presented tonight, and I will highlight that a little later. It's just one budget change. They allow for 3 lines of changes. If y'all notify anything y'all want changed, then between now and next week, let's get those changes in, and we will highlight those changes right here on this area here, on the bottom of page 8. Okay.
I saw where you put, the proposal in the newspaper, but this is offline stuff we're talking about.
Well, that's the salary schedule.
No, on the tax.
The roll forward?
Yeah.
I put that because that's required. That'll be for the September board meeting. That's called roll forward.
Separate thing, yeah.
I will say that I'm on currently, page 10 here? You will see property tax. The property tax makes an assumption that y'all will approve, and I'm hoping y'all will approve, next month's request to roll forward tax assessments, okay? Every 4 years, we do a roll forward of the tax values that the tax assessor has. So we will do the roll forward of those. That will be presented. So this budget is being presented to y'all with that assumption. So if you would look, starting on page 10, column 3 is the line where these are the budget adjustments. These are the new numbers they will be adjusted to. Column 4 is the new proposed budget, okay? So what we did with this is column 1 is the entire year up to the end of May, and we estimated June. Those numbers are still being sorted out as we talk. We're still closing out the year, but we can still adopt this budget without having it finalized. Those can be easily estimated. So there's a lot to talk. I could put it. Most people sound asleep here. Is there anything y'all would like me to go over? I would like to go to page 11 real quick. There's a thing under revenues. I want to highlight this under federal grants. Column 3 has $33 million worth of federal grants money, and you will see that column 4, which is the coming year, is only $20 million. Sarah Rashaw has come in here several times calling the ESSER cliff. This is the cliff. There's a reduction of $13 million in funding in federal. This is ESSER 3, which will be partial this year, still 3 months of it this year. But next year, this $20 million is going to be reduced much further again. But anyhow, I just wanted y'all to point this out. This is ESSER 2 going away, and then most of ESSER 3 being expired this September, and it disappearing starting October 1. So that's what this is all about here. So back in the day when the federal grants money was only about $5 to $8 million, that will soon return, okay? I just wanted to point that out. That's important for y'all to know, because you will see even though the general fund may be steady or slightly declining depending on sales tax revenues, it will be, this federal grant will go off significantly, okay? But it financially, we're still sound. I just wanted to make sure y'all understood. We did not spend ESSER money on something where we made long-term obligations. All our ESSER obligations funding ends when that obligation is fulfilled. We were very clear, followed with Dr. Eloy, we did not obligate this district to a salary schedule forever and expecting ESSER funds forever. We did not make any of those choices. We just did one-time purchases and stuff like that.
This is every school district in the entire country.
This is every school district in the entire country. It's all coming to an end, correct. It's all coming to an end, so.
Our special programs really took a drop, didn't it?
Yeah. Special programs?
Yeah, under expenditures, 63%.
Yes.
It went from 99.5 million down to 4.1 million.
That's right.
That's high.
I have a question. Do we receive any monies from like Medicaid, so any type of
Yes, ma'am.
services? Like, where does that come from?
Okay, federal, that's a federal grant, but they reimburse us. They're usually about 2 years behind when we actually incur. General fund fronts the money. Quan Sanders, I have to highlight part down. Y'all didn't mention this, but special ed I really like about all her accomplishments that she highlighted is the fact she found us a great deal more money that we could have always been applying for, but we are now applying for the full balance. There is roughly about $1.4 million worth of reimbursement from Medicaid that comes in. We generally have already received that check by now. It last year showed up in September, and I'm hoping it'll show up any day now, but I will backdate I'll create a receivable, and it will show up in the past year.
And that's for things like our physical therapists and our speech therapists. And
Also transportation, sped students.
Transportation sped students, and it has to be qualifying students also. That's why all the parents have to fill out that form. All that stuff, it has to be a qualifying student, and it has to be qualifying services. But I want to let y'all know, we at the general fund fronts that money and literally have to wait 2 years to get it reimbursed. And
So
we're
you
carrying,
pay like the physical therapist out of the general funds, and then that money?
we pay, that's
later.
correct. That's correct. Like we'll pay today, and we have to wait 2 years. 2 years from now, everything we spend in the next year will finally be reimbursed. It's a very extensive process, and Kwan is extremely talented working with me. I'm very happy. We've done really well in finding that money. I could not be more thrilled about how it's going now.
so there's business services and central services that has a small budget, but there was no previous budget for those.
Make sure you're on, I'm so sorry.
Oh, there.
Yeah, that was, we broke that down in much more detail, but
Is that something new or out of a different?
no, we're just taking it out of different areas, just trying to delegate it into new stuff to be more defined for y'all. Yeah, that's most of the supplies and stuff, so we're just trying to separate it. Okay, you will also see the food service line, as it relates to what we just got to talking about with enrollment. The food service, obviously, the revenues and expenses will be fluctuating with those numbers, okay? So I'm on page 12, manually, let me see if once again, you can get deep into the weeds here, so just let me know what y'all would like to talk about.
Under, career and technical education program,
What page are you? Okay, right here on page 12?
12,
Yes, ma'am.
that, includes high school programs like the IP and all those? Is that just high school, or is it for,
That's-
alternative school?
It's high school, and actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because we met with Mr. Stewart the other day, and he is actively trying to get some students from the BTCC over there, because they qualify for that as well. He's trying to get some in his program. And he actually reported, I think this year, he has more, he does have one?
Yeah, one.
But he commented the other day, I think he has more Lakeview students this year than he does Central students, so.
Lee, what's the school administration and general administration, such a big jump? What is that? all of them.
Okay. Wait, so these numbers include both federally funded, okay. So if you hire a brand new department like, student services, even though it's being paid for out of federal government, it does expand central office payroll.
No, remember we spoke today, you're talking about the percentage increase?
Right, the 40%.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
percentage increase, if you recall, because I had the same question for them, we've actually, what it is we haven't increased the size of central office with the exception of strong grant things, because we've hired like executive master and things of that nature. But the overall percentage of staff has gone down while keeping that stagnant, so the percentage went up. Isn't that how you explained it to me earlier?
So what happens when you reduce the staff at the central office support, and actually we've added a few new master students, it's all being paid out of strong grant. The instructional specialists, and the numbers of instructional specialists when transferred over to master teachers has expanded the number. If you've actually declined a little bit in your total, it just makes the percentage look bigger.
So that's what all those instructional specialists that switched over to master tap, that's that 40%.
Yes, sir. Even though they're located at the
Yeah.
school, they're still on this budget.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Lee, it looks like maintenance and plant services is flat, but student transportation services has gone down. How long?
He explained that to me earlier too. So we went through this because I was like, these are the questions they're gonna ask. Specifically, if y'all recall, we had an additional amount we had to pay.
Remember, we talked about this last year.
Yeah, we paid an additional amount on the,
On the subsidy.
yeah,
Basically.
the subsidy, and that's being reflected in that additional
That's
amount.
Okay.
And otherwise, remember there was an inflationary, there was a
Right.
rolling number going up.
Yeah,
We had this jump.
Consumer index.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, okay.
I'm glad we had that meeting.
So the master, the instructional specialist changed over
They're
the
now-
funding?
Yes, ma'am. They are now under strong grant funding, and they're called master teachers now. Which we don't have lead teachers and we don't have instructional specialists. We have master teachers and mentors. But they are all now under strong. Whereas prior to that, they were under ESSER, and then also some of them were under CLSD funds, which is it's a thing for literacy coaches. What we've done now, none of them are under CLSD, none of them are under ESSER. ESSER's gone. CLSD is still there, but that's where we were able to put literacy coaches at LP Vaughn and Weaver, because they have the highest rates of the highest literacy issues over there. So
How long was the strong grant for again?
3 years with an additional 2 as long as you abide by everything. So the hope is, the belief is, because we've met everything we're supposed to, that it'll be 5 years, which means we just finished year 1 because it's October to October. So the hope is that we'll have 4 more years on that. And in the meantime, Lee's job is to sustain it. So
The first year was really ramping up. ESSER rolls off this year, but it's also been expanded.
We'll have to figure out 4 years from now.
he's already been working on it. By the way, I'm going to retire before you know.
So just to let y'all know, we had 3 debt service. We're collecting enough. That was one of the main things I was wanting to talk to y'all about. Next month, I will be presenting to you a level of millages to be levied at each district and each location. I'm going to find it here, get the exact page number for you. Okay. It is on page 17. Let me see, it's really, it starts on page 17. I wanted to share this with y'all. So this is what you can expect next month. Right here, these are the property millages. So I want to share, this is actually interesting to know district for the whole parish. You will see, it says 24-25. This is from Tim Page has provided these numbers to us. Our new, if we roll forward, we will roll forward from $450 million parish-wide to $464 million. There are a constitutional tax that is established by the state way back eons ago, and the renewal, which was recently renewed at 7 mills. These are both general fund millages. So this is built into my new budget. This is increased revenue here. Okay? Then I would like to go to, these are the assumptions. Okay, the mention here is the amount of additional funds. I wanted to go to each of y'all's BRE funds. This is debt service and debt service calculations. Let me get to the nuts and bolts to this one. Let me see here. It's better for me to flip a page instead of rolling on the computer here. Generally, most of y'all are concerned about the funding for BRE, which is building repairs and equipment. And so I wanted to share that with you. Okay, starts on page 29 on your, wanted to most of the pages before that are each of the grants. Now I want to say this. These, when I'm talking about these federal grants, that's all the pages up to page 29. Those grants are the ones that were verified at the beginning of when this was prepared. There's always a second round of funding coming and all those things, and that is not included because we did not prepare something that we could not verify from the state. So that's what you have here is on page 29. Chad and, well, Reverend Harris isn't here. This is right here. If you will see this little spot right here on this is your new 10 mil. It was passed with the understanding it was estimated to be $1,010,000. It actually ended up being, after the final assessment, it came in that it would be around, it's going to be $944,000. Okay? And that will be going to help support O'Donnell's homeland. Okay? Now, these are the other BRE. Okay, so, but your BRE is going to go up from $1,128,000 in collections to $1,132,000. Okay, so it's almost stagnant there. District 9, which is the city schools, is going to go from the city schools. If you will look here, the assessed value is $239 million to $254 million. So the biggest growth district-wide in assessed values for property taxes happened within District 9.
Consolidated.
It's not called consolidated. It's not a consolidated district. It's the only one that isn't.
Really?
Yes, it's true. It's not that.
When they passed that bond, that's what they advertised it as, a consolidated.
Which bond? The bond.
Remember that $19 million bond?
2017.
All right.
Okay.
Well, anyhow.
None of us, well, Mitt was on board. The rest of us were not.
So, so here, Micah, your number is going from $1,067,000 in support of Marksville to $1,077,000. However, Russ, this is your news. After the change, this is the old District 8 that's been now renamed the new District 11. And we have the old District 8 numbers here. And I really want to emphasize this to the board, how important this was for support of Provençal. This was $118,754 last year, going up to $469,000 this year.
Got a little cushion.
Yep. For the first time, we have enough to actually support a school, because we always run out.
And we've been trying to spend it, haven't we, Ryan?
Better believe it. Okay. So, I wanted to talk about debt service next. I really want to do the summary. Okay, page 34. If everybody could go to page 34. This is the change I'm going to make. When I first prepared this, I would like to keep the District 7 millage at 8. And I would, here though, under District 8, I was a little too aggressive for the liking of Foley and Associates and speaking to the Argent who manages the bond. I wanted to lower Province Hall's millage from 26 to 19. I'm going to make an adjustment and bring that back to 22. That's the best I could do, Russ. But that was in communication.
Well, remember, everybody's expecting lower, so that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, it was their opinion that I was a little too aggressive on my part. And that's just me being a business owner and trying to get it as low as we need, but it based on reserves and stuff. But also the same with Natchitoches. You want to see I went from 6.6 down to 6. These two things will be adjusted by next week, and that will be the one adjustment I'm going to recommend to what was proposed originally. I did do this without Brendan Black's sign off.
Which one, what's
Okay.
6.6?
0.6, okay, it goes from 6.6 to 6. This 6 will go back up to 6.6.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't clear with that. Thinking faster than I talk, so. Okay. That is pretty much kind of includes the nuts and bolts. I mean, there's bond amortization schedules, which are just, you can start on page 39 with the, if just for your general information, page 39, this is the roster, this is the total number of kindergarten teachers, 21. Total number of elementary, actually, hang on a minute, that's not true. The last column is the new number, right here. Okay? So these are the new, these are our new numbers, okay? So the last column is where it's called full-time equivalents. These are at all schools. This is, so I mean, I can't answer a specific school. There is a master schedule that actually breaks this down by school. Okay? Page 42, we're almost at the end. Page 42 at the very bottom says full-time equivalents. It doesn't look like there's much movement in payroll, but once again, savings to general fund has been from us moving, and we have reduced a few positions in order to adjust them. Those were promises made to this board, and those through natural attrition and realignment.
28, correct.
28, correct, and realignment, but some of those were relocated to the additional master teachers that were added. But when we added federal funding, and we reduced general funding. So, are y'all following? I do understand how confused. Dr. Eloy was confused as well as I am. Beginning, oh, that's right. And we actually looked at the instructional specialists going away, but then the master teachers, and there's more master teachers than the combination of all the instructional specialists. Then you have a master mentor, and that's on that program.
Yeah, it doesn't.
There's anyhow, it's just a different. Okay. Okay. And that concludes my presentation. So the assumptions is like y'all to read on your, starting on page 44. That goes, I think, all the way to page 49. And then one of the things to really look at, as I would say, is page 50, which we talked about earlier, is just the projected enrollments. Any event that we get better enrollments than we're currently predicting, life is going to be easier on us financially. I will phrase it that way. It'll just will be easier. But these are the assumptions we're making, and it's realistic and measurable.
Can we add it into, I don't know how to, we need to go after some of the homeschool kids and get back to system next year. So what kind of pilot, program or can we initiate to attract some of these kids back into the system? I know we're doing truancy this year, we're doing something every year, but even if we get 100 kids, I mean, that's a substantial amount.
I guess we would have to determine, and I think we'd have to figure out why they left to begin with. Some of it may be frustration with us. Some of it I perceive as some political frustration with public education in general. And some of it may be the flexibility of the scheduling of some of these homeschools where you don't have to go, like you can go three days or two. I've even seen somewhere
2 days.
2 days, and some you don't even have to go. You just do like a check-in type thing. But I think first we'd have to determine why folks have left.
But see, if
And
you
then-
do that, that's going to help us, only help us with those that may leave in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
But I think that's the first thing. You got to determine why someone's leaving, and then that'll inform you as to what you need to do in response.
Would you have some, parents don't want their kids in public school, they want to keep them in
Yes, ma'am.
homeschool, so.
But I know with, like high school, there's, Walker High School, and they have a great program. So it may depend on like what we're offering. They
Yeah.
offer mechanics, I mean, a lot of stuff that I know we don't offer.
Yeah, Walker High
Okay.
School is probably has the most options in terms of programming of any school in the state. I mean, it's impressive. I think we're always looking to add programs, but it's what's the biggest bang for your buck in terms of, some of the stuff looks flashy, but it's not going to prove dividends. But I think anytime you add programs, even talking about like Mr. Stewart's program, that's been very enticing to people because it's showing a value. I think it's just a matter of identifying what do we think some of the programming would be, and then investing in it as a board.
yeah, if we're looking at losing 76 students overall as a system, if we can cut that number in half every year, I mean, that's just significant money in our pocket. And we can do good things with it. Plus, we can diagnose some things that may be pushing some students out.
For sure.
And so we could, it'd be a win-win.
Has anyone reached out to those parents of children who have left for private schools?
I have.
You did that, what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago. The majority of it at that time was disillusionment with public ed in general because of COVID was a major feature. A lot of, and I don't want to generalize too much, but a lot of the people I spoke to, it was disillusionment that began with COVID, but then there was kind of a lot of the news being reported about public schools was, kids were dressing up as cats, whether that's true or not, or a lot of the social issues that we've been made aware of that people are afraid of. I know really smart, really just logical people who they are convinced that there were certain things that their children were going to be exposed into the public schools that I know are not happening in our district, and I know they're not going to happen in our district. And I could explain that till I was blue in the face, and they just did not believe and did not want to believe that was the case. And it was a lot of kind of boogeyman type stuff.
Right.
Speaking of being exposed, with the new state law
Yes, ma'am.
posting the commandments,
So that's on. You can go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's on the agenda?
No, it's on hold because so we've gotten a few emails. We've gotten emails from our lawyers who have said don't do anything until otherwise instructed. Also, Liz Merle, who's the Louisiana Attorney General, she's actively trying to. There's a lawsuit right now with an injunction. She's trying to get that removed by stating that the most recent legislation, she's saying the lawsuit against them is hypothetical by saying that it's infringing on student rights, and you have to allow it to transpire to see if it'll actually infringe on those rights.
And there's no harm to the state.
That's what she's saying. The other part of it is we cannot act as a district unless, even in the legislation, it has to be donated. So we can't just do it on our own. You can't use district funds. So everything with that, there's a potential that they'll have more information as early as November possibly earlier, but I've heard November, but everything's on hold until, and we're gonna have the law conference with Hammond, Seals and Geis in September, I think. So we'll probably, that'll be a hot topic.
Mr. Lee, all the DRE numbers that relates to the taxes collected, that's a set number now, or that's the estimated number from Tim in his office?
This set number for the past, we estimated the amount of collection fees that the sheriff charges, it's all built into that. What I was thinking, it is a budget. If they have a hard time collecting, if people are late paying them in or something, that might slow down collections or delay them until next year. But that is based on experience, that is where it should be. Yes, sir. That is already with the collection fees removed and all the estimated stuff done. That should be what is available for BRE. I think it's reasonably about a 99% chance that's your number.
Okay, thank you.
So, another question, because they asked, are they getting any money? I'm not saying it was said they were getting any money, I'm just asking,
It's
so.
on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
We're a couple away from it.
Okay. That's it?
That'll be.
All right, so 5, won't be? Adopt minor changes to salary schedule to correct custodial pay rate. Mr.
Well,
Moss?
a few more things to that. Oh, this is not. Is there something else? I submitted a different one. Is there a different one?
So is that gonna be a somewhat minor change?
Okay, D and B, we will delete B and we'll move to D if we could. I'm sorry, I submitted this and then found a few little minor things. Look, it is a great reluctance that I bring this to y'all, because I know we've been talking about salary schedule. However,
Are we on D?
we are on D in fact, because it's the same exact subject.
Take C.
Let's go
Huh?
to C.
All right, let's go to C.
All right, so I have
Stan
C.
Key is waiting on that.
Okay, discuss and consider student MFP legislative stipend dissemination date.
Okay, so, as y'all are aware, they have not added to the MFP, but what the legislature has done the past, well, they did last year and they're now doing this year, is they have given an allotment for us, $2,000 for certificated folks, $1,000 for support staff. Just so you're aware, support staff even includes people like Mr. Lawson, who's non-instructional. And so that has to be paid, last year we could pay it out by June, this year it has to be paid out by January. I will tell you, the money is not in the bank yet. We're told it's gonna arrive to us end of August. So y'all can do whatever y'all wanna do, because last year I gave y'all a bunch of options and y'all totally disregarded it. Which I'm fine with, I'm totally okay. But this is what I want to give you the context of why I'm proposing this to be dispersed in October. We don't have the money yet, so the soonest you could do it is in September, but I have another stipend for all employees that I'm proposing to you that I would like to pay out in September. So they get a stipend in September that, again, you'll see in a minute. Then they get a stipend in October. I don't know why I pronounce it that way. Then they'll get paid early in November before Thanksgiving. Then they'll get paid early in December before Christmas, and they'll get paid their tax check also. And please hear exactly what I say when I say this. We have to wait on VAM scores to come out in November. Sometimes they wait a little while. When VAM scores come out, that's when TAP payouts can be calculated and paid out. TAP payouts at the earliest will happen in December, but it's all contingent upon VAM being put out. So what I'm telling you is the method to the madness here about paying out in October is that there's a lot of stipends that we've paid out, and we'd like to kind of stretch that out a little bit to spread the wealth, literally spread the wealth for people so they'll get a little something different every month.
It was October last year, wasn't it?
It was.
I believe so.
I keep it the same.
Yeah.
We debated against the January, like Mr. McGuire suggested, they said, no, we want it now.
Well, and I'll be honest, on the TAP payout, I'm
And all
hoping
that money
VAM,
to getting out of he broke in January. See, he broke.
I'm hoping VAM payout is, or VAM scores from the state are a little late, so we can do, I would like to do TAP payout in January. if we're ready, we do it in December, because that's good too, but the idea of January, it's that desert, you know. But again, that's up to you. So the other thing I have down at the bottom, if you recall, we have people who are not included, they did not put they don't put federal employees in that, their codes in there for MFP. We feel as though that it's not cool to have a pre-K teacher not get the same stipend, or a pre-K para, and also I always include Miss Kanika in there because for whatever reason she's not ever included. So there is an additional $48,000 that would come from general. If you remember last year, it was actually more than that, and I think it was like 67. But we always cover those folks who aren't covered by the MFP.
Okay. What letter?
D.
All right, discuss and consider minor changes needed for the 2024-2025 salary schedule.
Okay, with all these adjustments and changes that have been happening, on my first page, page 6 of the salary schedule, I inserted column L, actually J, sorry, column J. I have it highlighted in yellow. That column is a new column.
Just gives us more flexibility for the
It gives
future.
us more flexibility in the future. We need it added. However, I had not named this man's correct name. I had also not put him in the right column. Anyhow, all this has now been corrected with this. It is this picky-ish type stuff that's important. I will say this. I moved the custodial columns from professional and non-administrative page to this page. When I first made it, all the calculations made it, and I verified it. Then I must have hit update before I presented it to y'all, and 9-month employees lost money, and I can't handle that. So look, I would like to ask that we update to these new numbers. These are exactly the same numbers off last year's salary schedule. It is just not any reduction.
Correcting a mistake.
It's correcting the mistake, and it is truly on me. I own it. I will check and double check.
But let's be clear, no one has lost. any
Nobody
money.
has lost money. This is to
Okay.
prevent that loss.
That's correct.
Now
No one
this-
has lost any pay.
That's correct. Now, page 12, which is the next page, I realized when we're talking about the truancy officer, and we're all excited about it, we had no, he is not on the salary schedule. So here, he is moving from a 10-month employee to a 12-month employee. We did not accommodate that. It is now accommodated for here. And that is it. And I'm so sorry. I know we talk about the salary schedule. I knew it needed to be flexible, but it doesn't need to be this flexible. I really would like to make this once a year and we're done. But we have been going through a lot of job description changes and everything. So I just wanted to.
And we just made the truancy position.
Yeah,
So
and it's just to get all this stuff correct, and it's, you know, and I don't think about some of the changes until y'all actually come, until they come to me and say, what are we gonna pay them? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And so that's where these adjustments, and I'm just sorry, I know, because it's like the 4th adjustment, and I don't mean to get y'all, I really would like to keep it nice one time a year, but it just didn't work out. Okay.
This E is accept offer to sell parcel 89011384004 F for $6,700 in cash.
This piece of property appraised at $6,000, was listed for $7,000. I recommend to the board that we accept this offer for $6,700 cash.
Where is this located?
It's Flora Road in Natchez. It says to be determined the exact address. Remember now, y'all might remember that we own 22 pieces of scrap property. Most of it did not have addresses. Most of it, we had to go out and establish parcel locations for this property because it just didn't show up anywhere.
Mr. Matoir might know where it's at.
It's
It's the Natchez Floor Road, is out there close where the water wells out there for Water District 2,
yes, sir.
going out that way.
Highway
I can tell you
498?
where
Or 4?
Miss Tam Kill, but I don't wanna, I can tell you who lives by there, but I don't wanna
Okay,
say the name in there. I can tell you where.
all
I
right,
know you know the person that lives close by it.
okay.
Yeah.
It is less than an acre. It's 0.81 acres.
And for the board, because I know that we retain mineral rights.
We will maintain mineral rights, as always. But, this is just random scrap property, but now this will work out well.
All right, 5F, discuss and consider lease renewal between Nashville School Board and Save the Children for LP Bond Head Start.
Okay, so this is not the renewal of who's going to be the lead agency for Head Start, because I know some of y'all have asked me about when that comes up. This is, they had a 5-year lease with us, and they are asking, that lease is at $0 a year for the hallway in classrooms they use at LP Vaughn. In preparation for this, I provide you what they've sent us, but then I also spoke to Ms. Carissa Davis over at LP Vaughn. She has no complaints with the partnership, but I didn't want to sign this without board approval.
Have we talked with our attorney to see if that's legal, that we can lease something to a contract with somebody that's public property?
I haven't, just simply because it was something that was already being done prior to my tenure, but I don't mind checking on it.
I think we need to see if it's legal, that we can let another agency use our facility without pay.
Yes, sir. I'll check on it.
And do we, because we can't pull a contract up, it's not pulling up.
Oh, it's not pulling up?
The reason is
Yeah, you
it's
have
a Word document,
Yeah.
and you have to, it'll download, you can pull it up.
You have to go download it. You may not have that button. You may not have that button, I can do it on this laptop.
I'll make that correction tomorrow sometime.
So, I'll type it, but at the end of this finance deal, give stuff out, our friends,
What?
farmers, Head Start children.
You talking about, oh, yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I got you.
Ah,
Sorry about that, Ms. Palmer.
I couldn't hear you.
No, he's gonna give us an update on the farmer Head Start property at the end of this session. So-
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Alrighty. 5F, no, I'm sorry, G, discuss and consider MOU between Career Compass of Louisiana and Nash Parish School Board, J. Gilmore.
Okay, that should actually be 2 on there, because there's also the internship MOU. And so Ms. Gilmore, I'm going to be tabling one of her items. But what the Career Compass MOU is, or the internship pilot, it's $3,000. It's paid already by CDF funds, and it allows us to enter into to a pilot program for internships, which is, y'all know that's where the state's moving. So the senior services that the Career Compass does, that's where they assist with college and career planning for our seniors, and completion of FAFSA. Even though FAFSA is no longer a graduation requirement, it's still something we encourage, and that will be covered 100% by the Orchard Foundation. So these are just kind of things we do annually.
Do you want those separate?
We can.
Motions? I asked and.
I think we should for the next Tuesday meeting. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, because it's money, it's MOU, so I think we should separate them.
So does this include all the high schools?
Yes, ma'am.
The alternative school too?
Yes, ma'am. They will come to me and they give me an end of year report which shows how many students they've serviced and all that good stuff. And they go everywhere.
5H, discuss and consider staff retention stipend funded by ESSER 3 and a dissemination date.
Okay, so this is the other piece I was talking about, Ms. Tankia. We have a balance in ESSER that we would, I think I told y'all throughout the time with ESSER, we budget things and sometimes it goes over budget, sometimes it goes under budget, so we routinely, probably every quarter, go in and redo the money. Well, now we're at the end of quarters, and we have close to a little over $500,000 left in the bucket. And instead of trying to go buy some, I don't know, whatever, we would like to take that money and spread it out amongst all of our employees as a staff retention stipend. I wish there was more left in the kitty, but what that's going to allow us to do, and I'll read the verbiage because this comes from ESSER. in order to support activities necessary for maintaining the operation and continuity of services in local education agencies, as well as continuing to employ existing staff of local education agency, we are proposing a staff retention stipend of $700 gross to be issued at the board's discretion prior to September 30th of '24. Stipend will be paid to all full-time equivalent employees. Part-time employees do not qualify. Only employees actively employed with the district as of September 1st, 2024 are eligible. So it's around 720 employees, 700 gross. We're hoping that means that most people would, Lee, tell me the math, they probably see on average.
Well, they're gonna remove about 9%, 10%, then whatever the withholdings are, probably.
And withholdings vary, obviously.
Well, obviously,
Yeah.
the withholdings will vary, but at 10%, so I would say their net gross, net probably be $550 to $600.
Yeah. So, again, we wish we could have done more. We've been dealing with this for the past month, but we eked out every cent we could to try to disseminate as a last ESSER. I hate to say thank you because it makes it sound that this is just money we're spreading out, but we know the past 4 years under COVID and ESSER has been difficult, and we want the last thing we do as a board, as a staff, in regards to ESSERs, to be able to thank our folks for, in some small way, for what they've done.
It's the same,
Sir?
it's same, right?
Yes, every employee will get the same. We're not going to delineate between certificated or years experience or anything like that. Everyone has experienced this in equal ways.
And that'll go out in September?
Well, that's what I'm asking y'all to vote on. If y'all confirm this, then we would pay it out on that September 15th run, Lee.
Well, we need to do, can we do a separate check for it? We talked about that.
It's not gonna be part of their salary, it will be, most people get paid at the end of the month. This will be a mid-month deposit.
So I think what Mr. Benefield is saying is actually being able to hand those out as paper checks to employees. So that's at the will of the board. If y'all would like to do that as a
thank you.
as a thank you. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, paper check versus electronic, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just hand it out with a handshake and thank them for being on the team.
And this is maintenance
This is
and everybody.
all full-time
All
employees.
Food service, secretaries, everything.
This page, you had 721, did you have one employees? This is 720. Are we pretty close, or is there somewhere?
It's some.
She said when she said 791, that includes part-time.
Okay.
That includes everything.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Part-time is not included.
Correct.
Okay. That concludes finance.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes, sir.
thank you for that lengthy review.
You're welcome.
Did you want me to touch on the Head Start?
I do.
Okay, so, oh gosh, about 3 months ago, I was watching the city council meeting, and I freaked out because they had us on the foreclosure list or whatever it is, and so I jumped in my truck. I was in the middle of eating rice-a-roni, and I jumped in my truck and ran over to the city council meeting, and Mayor Williams was kind enough to allow me to speak, and I reiterated that the Head Start building. And we share a lawyer, Tim Murkison, who does a lot of the property stuff. Tommy Murkison, who does a lot of the real estate stuff for the city, is the one who did the stuff for us on the Head Start building, and he is adamant that Bessie owns that stuff. And so I corrected them in that meeting. They were very helpful. The city was great. And I think Mr. Alex Washington was there. He said they'd look into it and everything. They still had to have it on the next agenda because the way it was presented has to be on the voting meeting. But at that meeting, all the council members made sure that Bessie is the person, in ownership. So I think we're good with the city right now in terms of that. I will say this, Mr. Murkison did his research, which shows they own it. There is always the possibility that someone at Bessie will find some old document that says that property reverts back to someone somehow. No one's found anything that says that. We don't have record of it. It's been now 70 some odd years. So, yeah, so I think the memory of it's passed, everything's passed, but I don't want, if that occurs, anyone to think that we hid that or anything. It's just, and I don't know who's gonna look for any of this stuff at LDOE or Bessie, because, and I say LDOE, they're not involved in it, it's Bessie. And now the property is also transferred to DOA, because Senator Bernard had transferred it for the city, but then found out after the fact that they would have had to pay a fee still, not a fee, a fair market value for that property. And the city does not want to do that. They only wanted it if they could get it for free, because obviously it's going to cost them a substantial amount of money to remediate. So it's still very much in limbo. I talked to the mayor. I said, Mayor, whatever we have to do to in support of this, as just a community member, if we want to pass a resolution that says we are in support of the state or Bessie or whoever taking responsibility for that. But what this mayor's doing is they're going to lay claim to the Bessie being in charge of it, and then they're going to send them basically, I guess, a summons of some sort that says, we're going to bulldoze it, or you're going to bulldoze it, but whoever bulldozes it, you're getting the bill.
Asbestos remediation
Yeah,
first.
so-
Bulldoze all you
That's
can.
the greatest thing that we have heard about that particular
Well,
location, is that it's going to be demolished
I
at
don't-
some point. I hope.
Yes, ma'am, but don't.
Major blight.
I don't think
On the
there's.
community.
I don't think it's going to be fast, because this is all, and there can still be a whole lot more legal stuff before it's all said and done. So.
Wait and see.
Yes,
I'd like
ma'am.
to clarify, the school board does own the property, the parking lot, the property around.
But none of the buildings.
No bill.
Yeah.
Have we decided to put that up for sale, or what we, the part that we own, or we got to wait till they straighten up with,
Actually, initially, when Mayor Williams was when they were gonna get the property, we were gonna work with them to get them that piece of property so they could have the whole thing. But now we're kind of back to square one, because I almost think no one wants that property anymore, because no one knows who owns the bulk of the rest of it.
Or what they're gonna do with it when they get their hands on it. So, yeah, it's kind of a, but, you know, this is the latest and greatest, and that happened, what, 6 weeks ago?
So the initial meeting was probably 3 months ago, before summer, and then the follow-up was, I think, about 4 to 6 weeks ago.
Okay. All right, Mr. Russ.
Item 7A, discuss and consider district attorney, Naxos School Board truancy policy.
So I didn't have this to y'all sooner, just simply because, I think Billy Joe Harrington is the busiest man in Natchitoches, but he took time to do this for us. And we did this in conjunction. Him and Felicia worked on it. They sent it back and forth. And this is what he's going to do to assist us. You notice it doesn't show anything about taking someone to court. The only people who will be taken to court is if this policy doesn't work. There is a place where he conferences when we've done everything we can, and it's still beyond. Then it'll go to Mr. Billy Joe, and he'll conference with them in his office. But then when it goes beyond that, that's when it could potentially become a legal matter. But we're hoping that's the 1% of 1%, because we're going to surround and support as much as humanly possible.
This is kind of unprecedented that the district attorney and a parish would send out a first of the year letter, is that correct?
I don't know of any examples, but we love it.
Yeah.
So enforcement is gonna be done by the DA's office and Office of Juvenile Justice?
So we actually had a meeting with actually our SRO in the building today, Mr. Titano, Captain Titano, right? Captain? Major. I'm sorry. Major Titano, and what we basically said is, first point of contact is our truancy officer, and our SROs are not going to be going out, but we're going to, when these things become issues, the truancy officer is going to make contact. Then we're going to, we're going to do everything in-house, have meetings, all that stuff, support. Then when it goes to level 2, that's when they can go to the DA's office. Then if it goes beyond that, that's when, only when it goes beyond that and we have all the paperwork and all the effort being made, that's when Sheriff's Department potentially could get involved and someone could be charged with an actual, I think it's, they're not, lack of supervision of a minor or something of that nature.
Is this process easier than the FENS program that was in place previously?
It almost is kind of mimicking
Yes.
some of the FENS pieces.
Mhm.
Okay, item 7B, discuss and consider 2024-2025 pupil progression plan.
So we would like to table that, and it might be tabled as late as October because there's some new legislation that when we look through it, we're like, oh, we got to change some more things.
Third grade,
Was that?
the third grade stuff.
Some of the third grade stuff, but then also we were looking at, and actually Ms. Tinkia called me about this the other day. We were wanting to make it in pupil progression where you only, as a middle schooler, if you took a high school class, you only got credit if you made a mastery or advanced. So that way, that would help us. But unfortunately, there's a state law against that. So you got to give them credit if they have a basic. So.
One final note from this. We put out the budget online on the 29th of July and had 287 downloads in the first 24 hours. As the most public participation in the budget, I know maybe y'all don't care, but I just wanted to let y'all know.
That's transparency.
I'm personally happy that the public has taken interest in downloading.
Before we adjourn, and thank you for that information, Mr. Wasker, that means the public is watching, and that's great. I mean, we welcome all that. Did we not, on in Mr. Dancy's report of 7A, policy team committee, help me with this, did we not say that when we send these letters out, the expectation is that they return them, but if they don't?
When it's not returned, we notate that there was a lack of return. It doesn't mean that we will document that every parent had this sent out. We will also document those who did not sign, but it doesn't mean they're exempt from a policy or anything like that.
I've already signed one.
Good deal. But I will tell you, the other thing about it is we will also have, for next board meeting, all of the policy adjustments. The policy committee wrapped up today at 4:30, so you'll have your entire new policy handbook next Tuesday to vote on.
The first mistake.
May I ask, in reference to assisting some of these students with issues, emotion, all of that, since we gotta deal with that, what about rehab services? Can that,
So,
because it's available?
You talk about rehabilitation in terms of alcohol and
Assisting with
drugs?
emotional,
Okay.
telehealth.
Yes, ma'am. So actually, I talked to Jennifer Ingram and Felicia the other day. One of the policies that we just put through in policy, or I'm sorry, one of the new policies coming out states that we have to every year put out a notice in our official journal. So we're going to be doing that soon with the Times, where we have to ask for any service providers, whether it be that type of stuff. And so she'll be doing that. She already has a list of what we're aware of, but that opens it up even more. So if there's anyone we don't know about, and then any of those service providers, we would, if a kid comes in, whatever their issue is, they would say, hey, you know, maybe it's drugs and alcohol. Well, here's names you need to contact for that. Here's anger issues. Here's stuff for that. You know, so they're going to have a long list of people to include.
Okay, because this is a state agency that already been paid for some of the services we prefer.
Yes, ma'am.
I sent out an email earlier this week, maybe last week, about the football trailblazers. Is there anyone, there's 2 locations, one in Covington, one in Natchitoches. On the assumption you all want to attend the one in Natchitoches. It's October 4th from 9 to 3 at the school board office. Is there anyone in here who does not want to be registered for that conference?
You say it October 4th, I thought it was 18th.
First 2 dates.
29th is the 18th, did you say?
I may have written it down, I'm sorry.
Well, I saw it before, both of them.
There was an error on the first flyer that they sent out.
Yeah, I know the flyer says the third.
She sent out a corrected.
Okay, so Mr. Benfield wanted me to remind y'all. So we're gonna, me and Ms. Kanika, we have to make some formatting edits and all that, but we hope to have 0 to 900 in the system by the end of the week. So that'll provide you the weekend to be able to look over 0 through 900. Now, mind you, all these, it's a big document, but all these policies have already been voted on and edited and everything by the policy committee. So you're really just looking at, you know, kind of Reader's Digest it or, what's the word I'm looking for? Skim it, you know, whatever, because it has gone through one layer already. But the hope is that we will be able to fully vote on our new policy handbook with no hiccups for August 9th, so that way we can also move to the Assembly platform, which is a much more user-friendly way to access our policy. Because Mike has done a great job with it, but it uses Google as a search engine instead of the old version, and it just makes it a little more cumbersome. But this has been our halfway measure until Assembly comes on.
And we'll be the first in the state to have done that.
First in the state, yeah.
Okay, the corrected flyer does say October 18th.
It says October 18th.
October. So is there anyone in here who does not want, I still have to register, y'all, you know, it's a name. Is there anyone in here who does not want to be registered for that conference?
So it's October 18th and one day?
18th,
Just
one day.
One day.
And it's a full day here.
And the other in Covington is October 4th,
But you only have to go to one, it's the same conference, you're just offering it. to
Thursday and
them.
Friday.
And one is here, correct?
Yes, that's what I'm saying,
Okay.
everybody wants to attend the one in Anchorage on the 18th.
And so the idea is that that's going to be in that new building, because by that time we will have moved into that building. And Dr. Pope is real excited because we wanted to kind of show off at the same time. So
So everybody's attending the conference in Anchorage on the 18th.
I gotta check because we got some schedule out of town, so gotta check.
Anybody else question mark about it or what out now?
I'll be here.
Because I'll be registering about Sunday.
I'll let you know when I gotta go look at my calendar.
We do
If
need,
you
actually
can
need
let
to
me
know,
know, sorry, say
you
that.
need to know this week?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Board members, anything else before we adjourn? Want to thank you for your participation today. I know we had a lengthy meeting. Mr. Wascom has got a lot of information in front of us, and so please peruse that. And if you have to ask any questions, let's get those cleared up before board night and ask those questions. And so we are adjourned. Thank you.